All right. Well, you guys, welcome back. If you are new here, we are the Habit team. The Habit is a nutrition coaching company made for women by women. Our program is built for you with coaches who put your goals, lifestyle, and personality first. If you want to learn more about us, head to the episode notes or go to thehabit.com. That's habit with a Y to either request more information or book your free discovery call.
Welcome back, everyone, where we talk all things wellness, energy, and feeling like your best self every day. And per the last episode, Morgan and I, were talking about how we really wanted to bring an episode about vitamins, the importance behind them, when to take them, when to pair them with certain foods for absorption. And so, as promised, we are back. So, welcome, Morgan. Thanks for joining me again.
Yeah, of course. It's an exciting episode. I think it's a really good one and one that all of us can learn from, because I'm not going to lie, as I was looking into the topic and everything, I'm like, I didn't know that. So I think it'll be helpful.
I know. We're going to get into the nitty gritty, but this isn't just another take your multivitamin conversation. We're here to break down which vitamins women really need, why they matter, and like I said, the best times to take them for maximum absorption. So, taking vitamins ultimately at the wrong time or with the wrong foods can make a big difference. Sometimes your body doesn't even use what you're taking if you're not doing it in the correct time frame. And so we want to get into that. Your morning, midday, and evening vitamin routine that actually works. So, let's talk morning, specifically energy, focus, and hormone support. So, Morgan, why don't you kick us off on this one?
Yeah. So morning is ideally kind of the time for B vitamins or B complex vitamins. They are all about your energy, setting the tone for your day, and kind of your metabolism boosters. They help convert your food into fuel, support your nervous system, and keep your mood really steady. For the timing, we want to take them in the morning with breakfast, ideally. And whenever we're talking about these times to take them with certain foods, also know that your consistency in just taking your vitamins is really what matters the most. Some of this is it might sound like, oh my gosh, like I have to like time this out perfectly. And that's just not the case for a lot of this stuff. It's really about consistency. There are a couple of things that, yeah, they can make a difference. And then also you are a unique person. So what may affect me if I take something in the morning or, in the afternoon or whatever may not affect you the same way. So, take that into account as well.
Absolutely.
But we ideally want to take them with breakfast. Some people notice a little bit of an energy kick from B12, so taking it later in the day can mess with your sleep. And ideally, we'd love to pair them with protein, healthy fats, so a well-balanced meal, eggs, avocado toast, Greek yogurt with nuts, things like that. That combo really helps your body actually absorb them by slowing digestion and allows for steadier absorption. So can be really helpful just to make sure you've got a good meal. And another kind of, piece to this too is if you are someone, and hopefully you are, that is eating a really balanced diet, that you're going to get a lot of these vitamins and minerals just from your diet alone. And so supplementing them really is a supplement to what you're already doing. And so you're getting a lot of these mixtures just by eating a normal, well-balanced, healthy diet. So it's kind of what we're looking for in the morning, though, is that those B12 ones, just because they can give you a little bit of an energy boost.
And going off of that, yes, like you may think your nutrition is dialed in, but, coming from a macro coach, I mean, I thought my nutrition was great and I just got blood work done and I was B12 deficient. And I was like, wait, what? And so right now I'm supplementing it just to get my levels higher, but I'm also going to look into ways where I can boost that B12 naturally through nutrient dense foods. And so just wanted to add that in, that it is possible to get through foods, but you may be deficient without actually realizing it. And so it was a good wake up call for me. And that's also kind of why me and Morgan were like, wait, this actually would be a great episode, because not a lot of women know, the difference between each and why they're so important. So just wanted to add that little tidbit in.
Yes, that's so true. And I'm the same way with vitamins, just I eat that healthy diet most of the time, very well balanced, try to get my all my macros in at a meal, and then also fiber, drink plenty of water, all the things. But, a lot of us are still going to be a little deficient in, a couple different things. And, um, back to what you were saying too, you got your blood work done. That is kind of the what you everybody needs to do first before adding in, like,
Yes.
a major supplement, like a vitamin or a mineral. So make sure that you get that part done first, and really make sure you're communicating with your doctor too about this. Don't just add in a bunch of random
Yes.
supplements after you listen to the podcast, please.
Absolutely. Yes, so thank you for adding that in. I'm only supplementing at a higher dosage right now just to get my levels up, but that is quite literally because I knew for a fact, based on my blood work, that I was deficient. And so once I retest, which I will in a few months, and if my levels are normal, then I'm literally just going to default back to a, simple multivitamin that kind of, check marks all off all the boxes. But for now, it is important just to know if you are deficient or not in general. So, but yes.
Yes. I'll also add this too, and it kind of goes back to the timing of it in the morning. That's kind of ideal. And I actually started taking it's a complex or a blend, if you want to call it that. It has all these different vitamins in it. And then I take some other ones too that aren't included. And, I was thinking about taking them at breakfast. I was like, okay, that's what you're supposed to do. Take these ones in the morning, that kind of thing. But with the mixture of vitamins that is in that one that I'm specifically taking, it's like literally impossible to break it up because they're combined.
Hmm.
And so I decided to start taking them at lunchtime, and this is specifically for me, personal preference, because with the time change and also just where I live now, we have our gym at our house. I'm working out in the mornings, and so having like a heavier breakfast for me is just not in the cards. Like
Yeah.
I've tried it, and I don't feel good enough to work out hard after having a heavy breakfast, and so my breakfasts tend to be lighter, which means I don't have as many fats in my breakfast. So I switched to lunch. And I do notice that energy boost at lunchtime, which isn't bad for me personally. I don't mind it. But it doesn't like affect me going to bed later on or anything like that. So that's kind of what I was getting at about knowing like yourself and knowing how these things react for you, and making it work for yourself too, but also knowing the reason why we say okay in the morning or earlier in the day.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's why we were saying, we don't want you to uphaul your entire life and think that you need to time these to the T, like in terms of time. Yeah. But we're going to give you general guidelines. And if you know some of your meals are larger than others or more fat heavy, more protein heavy, whatever it is, then it could be a simple switch like Morgan was doing, going from morning to lunchtime. That's not appalling your entire life. It's just ensuring that your body will be absorbing those nutrients, those vitamins at that time. And so that wasn't something like I'm guessing, a huge switch in
Right.
your routine. So,
No, not
yeah,
at all.
exactly.
Yep. Just practical. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm all about. Like
Yeah.
practical, realistic, but also adding the things that could be really, really helpful, like all of these vitamins and minerals. So
Absolutely. So that's B12. Next up, let's talk about vitamin D3. So this one's huge for women, especially if you don't get much sun. So if you are not in a state that gets a ton of sun, and you're in the colder, wintry months right now, this one is super,
Mm.
super important. So, vitamin D3 supports your immune system, your bones, and your hormone health. AKA, it does have a direct effect on your metabolism. And I know
Mm.
this because I started reading more because yet again, I found out I was D3 deficient. And
Mm.
which is wild to me. I live in San Diego, you guys. I'm in the
Yeah,
sun every day. Actually,
the Sunshine
yesterday,
State.
literally yesterday in November, it was 80 degrees. And so I was shocked by this. And which is why, again, important to get your blood work
Mhm.
done.
Mhm.
But this is also a vitamin that does better. with absorption with healthy fats. So it's fat soluble. So it does take, so we recommend you taking it with the largest meal of the day, but also maybe looking at your meal breakdown and seeing which one maybe has the highest fats as well.
Mm.
So think
Mhm.
healthy fats like salmon, olive oil, nut butter, things like that. And so going back to timing, I, looked at my meals and my heaviest fat is my breakfast because I love my nut butters and I put it with my Greek yogurt and my waffle. And if none of you guys know what American Dream nut butter is, that is why I'm obsessed with it. So I was like, all right, I take my B12 and my D3 first thing with breakfast because I know the fats are going to help with that absorption. And so it was just an easy little tweak like that. And, it is actually one of my larger meals, I would say, throughout the day. And so just, yeah, it definitely, like, I have been, again, dosing myself way higher than the normal amount, right, per my doctor, by the way, just so that I get my levels up, and I absolutely within 2 weeks felt a difference in terms of
Mm.
energy, and I didn't even know
Yeah.
that I was feeling less energized, quite honestly.
Right.
I was
Yeah.
basically living in that norm, and
I th
yeah,
yeah. I think a lot of us do that, like, we just get
totally.
so used to our stressors, our day-to-day, the feeling of being tired, like, that is so normalized, especially for women, um, and it could actually be a deficiency, like
Mhm.
you, and I think a lot of people have this exact same thing happen. I actually, this was probably a little over a year ago, but one of the girls I worked with at Prescott Bridal, whenever I was working there, she said the exact same thing. She was like, just thought, I was tired sometimes. I got my levels checked, and she was like, I was extremely deficient. I could not believe it. And I was like, yeah, it's crazy because we do get really used to not feeling 100%. And so
Mhm.
it's always good to get it checked just in case.
Well, and especially during these like winter months, the sun is setting.
Yes.
We already talked about seasonal depression disorder and we
Yeah.
chalk it up to that, right? I actually was
Yeah.
like, this is just my mood of how I
Part of
get
it.
during this time. Yeah, exactly. And so I'm
Yep.
glad we caught it now because now I'm going to be
Mhm.
making this seasonal depression, season much better because I'm already
Yep.
feeling more energized. So it's been a
Yep.
good
Yep.
little tweak.
Yes,
Um,
for sure.
and just on that note as well, in relation to your menstrual cycle, your periods, if you
Mhm.
often feel tired and have heavy periods, then iron might also be a must alongside the
Mm.
vitamin D3. So just wanted to throw that in because, again, we think. What we're used to is the norm when you actually shouldn't be having super, super heavy periods. And that was another thing, when I worked with the dietitian last year, I realized like my cycles are pretty like fairly normal and consistent.
Mhm.
And they last about like what, 4 days. But the first day was so heavy. I would change my
Mhm.
tampon like multiple times a day. And then all of a
Mhm.
sudden, day 2, 3, and 4, like I could probably go the whole day without wearing a tampon. And she goes,
Mhm.
that's not normal. And I'm like, really?
Yeah.
I was like, I actually thought I was
Mhm.
lucky because I was like, ooh, I get
Yeah.
the worst out of the way. And
Yes.
then
Mhm.
and then she's like,
Yep.
no, no, no. It should be fairly consistent throughout those 4 days. Obviously start
Mhm.
drying up towards the end. But that was
Right.
another thing. And so we worked on that, and that is all due to your vitamins too. And so I thought that
Yeah.
was interesting. But
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, I've also had clients, who start off in the program and, most of the clients do fat loss, which is totally fine, but whenever we're focusing on, in especially in the beginning, on hitting your macros, but also making sure you're hitting your macros with really good quality foods, like mostly whole food sources. I've had so many women say that their menstrual cycle is so much better
Mm-hmm.
after their quality nutrition goes up because we're getting now a lot more vitamins and minerals that you were probably really deficient in before, and it makes a massive difference on your period. It is crazy. And it's one of my favorite wins that women tell me. I'm like, "Yes, you don't have to, like, barely survive your period
Exactly.
every freaking month. Like, it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have to be awful. But I've kind of had the same experience with as you. And this was actually like 2 periods ago for me. It was kind of random, what I thought was random, of just having really, really terrible cramps. Like they woke me up in the middle of the night
Mm.
and I was like, what the heck? This is
Mhm.
not normal. This is crazy. It got to the point where I don't have a heating pad. I don't know why. I don't have one. So I had to get in the shower and literally just got in the shower and they went away. And it was that heat that helped so much
Mhm.
with the cramping part of it, but I was like, "Okay, that I've gotta figure something out," and so that's when I messaged my doctor, and I started, like, this whole vitamin regimen, and then this last period I had, like,
Piece of
didn't even
cake.
cramp, I don't
Ugh,
think. Yep,
I
didn't
love that
even
for
cramp.
you.
I was, like, wildly so much better. Yeah, thank
Yes.
God. That was miserable. I was like, "I don't know if I can live through another another round of a period like that." That was miserable. But,
Absolutely.
yeah, it's just eye-opening
Mhm.
whenever you do get your vitamins in a good place.
Yeah.
Can make all the difference.
And vitamins and minerals are derived from your carb sources, and most women fear carbs. I don't want to generalize, but some do still, which
What
we
do?
totally
Mhm.
understand. And that is why, like, so many women see positive changes in their menstrual cycle when they start working with us because we teach them
Yeah,
not to fear carbs. We
I
customize
love
their
them.
macros, and they're like, "Holy shit, this is more carbs than I've ever eaten." But obviously, that's where the vitamins come into play, and so I think that correlation also really helps them get over that fear and realize it's just as important as your proteins and fats.
Yep,
But
for sure.
but yeah, going back to just if you do have heavy periods and iron, now this is absolutely a vitamin you need to make sure if you're actually deficient in, because if you are taking too much iron, it can have bad repercussions. And so please check with your doctor first. But if you do realize you're iron deficient or you have really heavy periods, whatever it might be, timing with iron is actually really important. So, iron absorbs best on an empty stomach, ideally in the morning. Obviously, that's when we tend to have our empty stomach. It can cause nausea for some. So, if it does happen to you, you take it on an empty stomach, you feel a little nauseous, have it with maybe just a very small meal and then some vitamin C, like orange juice or
Mm,
berries. That'll really, really help. But then also, you really want to stay away from coffee, tea, or calcium around the same time because those can block iron absorption. So, that might also be why you're experiencing a little bit of nausea. If you're taking it on an empty stomach and then you're drinking your coffee,
mm,
yeah, it may not
mhm.
be food, but now you're interrupting the absorption and it's on an empty stomach and it just could create a slew of issues. So, if you
Yes.
are iron deficient, try to take it first thing in the morning. If you notice you're nauseous, obviously pair it like what I said with vitamin C options, and then just give yourself maybe an hour before you put any coffee, tea, or calcium in
Yeah,
your body. Yeah.
yeah. See, that's what really surprised me when I started to look into this. I was like, "Oh, I did not know that about, like, caffeine." That's really
Mm-hmm.
interesting that you do wanna make sure you're not taking them around the same time. So,
Yeah,
good little tidbit there for sure.
absolutely. Because
Did not
I
know
would
that.
say 9 out of 10 people are drinking their coffee first thing in the morning. So just to
Mhm,
be
mhm.
cognizant of that.
Yep, yep. Gotta pay attention a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the next one, let's get into some midday supplements. So these are kind of your immune and skin support ones. So this is where we focus on the antioxidant powerhouse and also just that immune support. So, number one here is vitamin C. So, we kind of talked about that just briefly with iron. They kind of work hand in hand. It is kind of a classic vitamin, but for good reason. It helps your body build collagen, keeps your skin glowing, supports immunity. So, taking it with lunch or another meal, since it can upset your stomach if taken on an empty one, that's best case scenario. And it helps your body absorb that iron again if you're taking that as well. So it can be really helpful and kind of kill two birds with one stone there, getting them both in at the same time because they do help each other absorb.
Mm-hmm. And you guys know we are going into cold and flu season. So take your vitamin C, it helps with your immune support.
Yes, I was gonna say, if you can't tell, me and Zan both are
I
fighting
know.
a cold right now. We sound like it. At least I feel like I do. But
Oh,
yeah, definitely
absolutely.
want to take that vitamin C. It's very helpful to help shorten that time that you're sick. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe I need to add some more vitamin C into my regimen too.
I know this past week when I've been sick, I've like doubled, because normally what's 500 milligrams, I've been taking 2 a day because I'm like, just I can't be sick anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
I'm
like, "Get
still
this
within
over
a
with."
normal range though. I'm not like
Yes. Overdose.
overdosing on vitamin C.
Oh gosh.
I know, right?
I know that's, like, so unlikely for most of these, but that's also, like, it can be a thing that's you
Absolutely.
wanna pay attention to. Don't wanna
Absolutely.
overdose on vitamins. How
Yeah.
awful would that be?
So
Not drugs, the vitamins.
I know, right? But alongside vitamin C, there's also another vitamin that's super, super important for your immunity. So what's the next one paired with that?
Yes, so zinc, it
Mhm.
helps, with that skin health as well and balancing hormones. It also can cause some nausea if you take it alone, so always take it with food, preferably something with protein, chicken, beef, beans, all the things that have a little bit a good, healthy serving of protein in it, just to help out with that nausea part, if you are someone that typically gets like that, and I actually am somebody that does, like, I almost can't take anything on an empty stomach, even, like,
Yeah.
medication, like, I can't do it, it makes me sick, so I'm someone who's usually gotta take something with a meal.
Mhm.
So midday vitamins are basically about protection, keeping your immune system strong and your cells healthy.
Mhm. I will speak to zinc. I've taken it on an empty stomach and I
Mm,
like, when you're about to like vomit and you get that like salivating feeling. Oh yeah.
yes.
And I was like, "Oh
Mhm.
my god." Yeah, sorry. I'm like triggering Morgan right
No, it's
now.
okay. No, you're good.
And I'm like, "Okay." Like and I have an ironclad stomach. Like I don't get
Yeah.
nauseous very often. That was one. So I was
Mm,
like, "Okay." So
yep.
basically like right now I take my B vitamins, my D vitamins with breakfast, and then I do zinc, vitamin C during lunch just to make sure that
Okay.
my body's gotten enough food in it because I
Yeah,
do tend to be a little more sensitive to those two. So,
totally. It makes
yeah.
sense.
And that just speaks, everyone's so drastically different. So these are
Yeah.
guidelines, right? And you have to
Yep.
kind of pair it with you, your lifestyle, and your individual body.
Yep.
So,
Yep. A little bit of trial and error with like everything, just figuring out what works for you. And I think, too, with just like hearing what Zan does versus like what I do and how we're different, that can be helpful with, everybody listening to this to figure out like what works
mhm.
best for them. And, you have to consider schedule too. Like the whole, all these vitamins and minerals that we're talking about, they shouldn't overtake your life and like you living your life around your vitamin schedule. Like, not the case, but really just whatever works best for you. We're not going to be the exact same on like schedule because
Mhm.
we're working from home. A lot of other people are not. So you got to consider that
Yeah.
as well.
Absolutely. Um, it's so funny, like, now that I've gotten older and all the supplements and vitamins I take, you should see when I, like, pack for, like, travel. I'm like,
Yes.
"Oh my god." If I ever got, like, stopped at TSA, they'd be like, "Ma'am, what are
What the
all of
heck?
these freaking pills?"
Yes. I
But
always worry about that with creatine because the creatine I take is just white powder.
Yep.
So I'm like, this looks like drugs.
Yeah, I know,
If I'm,
right?
like, putting it in a little baggie, I'm like, I need to, like, write on there and I've seen people do that, like, where they had to, like, label all of their supplements, like, "This is just protein, this is
Yep.
creatine, this
Yep.
is whatever." Like, that's gonna be me because I look like I'm
I know.
packing some hard stuff with me over here. But,
Packing all the goods.
yep.
Um, okay, so we covered morning, we covered, midday, so let's segue into evening. Obviously, when we
Mm,
want to start calming our bodies down, recovering, and getting our bodies ready for sleep. And arguably the most relaxing part of your day, my favorite part of the day. So let's start with magnesium. And there are so many different types of magnesium. So it is really important to know the difference. So I love magnesium because it helps relax your muscles, it'll calm your nervous system down, and ultimately improve your sleep quality, especially if you're not a good sleeper like myself. So I usually take magnesium glycinate. So glycinate is great for calming your body down and for sleep. So I take it about 1 to 2 hours before bed. And then the other type of magnesium I actually take is citrate. So, citrate really helps with digestion. I have always struggled with constipation issues. I don't know why. My diet, I would say, is fairly good with fiber and all the things, but I just always have. And so I'll take both of these. So it's okay to take them concurrently, but just know the difference and the benefits behind each. So glycinate for sleep, and then citrate is for digestion. And I promise you, and I put all my clients on this who struggle with their bowel movements. Ever since I started implementing citrate, I mean, it has to be like 5, 6 years now. I go same time every single morning on the dot, and it's just great.
Yep.
Who
Clockwork.
doesn't
We love
love
it.
that?
Love it. Oh, you have to love it. Why would you not?
I know.
That's so interesting. Just kind of going back to like where we're all very different. Because I would say I'm almost opposite of you in that way, where we're getting kind of TMI here, but I've never had a
Never.
problem with going number two. And so that was one thing actually that when I first started taking magnesium, it was actually the brand, it's called Calm.
Mhm.
You can find it at, like, Walmart, which is one in Target, so that was mainly the reason why I was taking it because I was like, "Oh, it's easy just to get when I'm getting groceries, just add that in there." I didn't have to worry about, getting it on Amazon, all that stuff. So, I was originally taking that, and it did help, like, I slept better, I noticed a difference, but when I went to go look at, like, the specific, like, amounts of magnesium in it was mostly citrate, and I was like, "Oh, that's, like, for digestion, though," so I'm like,
Mhm.
how is that helping me here? And I think there was, like, a slight blend, like, there was probably a little bit of glycinate in it, which is
Mhm.
pretty common. But I was like, "Oh, shoot, okay, maybe I should switch this around and try a different type and see if that helps me a little bit more," because it seemed like it would, like, work or, like, help maybe 75% of the time, and then
Mhm.
the rest, I was like, "I may not sleep tonight. It may not be great." So, switched over and actually got this recommendation from Kristen Kraft, and so got on a, like, complex magnesium, and it's mostly glycinate. I think it has some citrate in it too, but
Mhm.
made world of difference, like, sleep like a rock every single night
That's
pretty much,
awesome.
like, it's really good. So that's, really key to mention, the forms is super important here,
Mhm. Absolutely.
depending on what you need.
So since you've never really struggled with your bowel movements, when you were taking a lot of citrate, did you have
It
negative repercussions or
No,
no?
it
Okay.
didn't really change. I'm so shocked. I'm
Yeah.
like, "Okay, so is this, like, just not what it says is in the supplement?" And that could be the case a little bit. If it's not third party tested, it doesn't go through a lot of, processing and
Mhm.
all of that. So I thought maybe that was it. Um, but yeah, really never noticed a difference in
Okay.
bowel movements really. Like, it was all the same, which is shocking to me. I
Yeah.
expected to, but yeah.
Well, I was
Mm-mm.
afraid you were gonna say, I mean, if your digestion never really needed help and then all of a sudden it was getting this huge
Yeah,
boost that
I know.
you know where I'm going with, right?
Yep, yep, yep.
So,
Shockingly,
yeah.
no, that did
Okay,
not
good.
happen.
Good.
I'm surprised. I will say with the, complex that I'm taking now, I think the recommended amount is, like, 2 capsules in the evening usually, but I don't even do that. I just do 1 because it was getting to the point where it was making that happen, and
'Kay.
also I was having, like, insane dreams, like,
Oh,
constantly, and I was like, "Is this, like, my magnesium?" And I think I looked it up, and that could be a symptom sometimes, so I cut it
interesting.
down to 1 and feel good.
Good.
So,
Awesome. Good.
yeah.
I'm
All that
glad you
trial and error.
yeah, I'm glad you
So
found your
much.
perfect recipe.
Yes, yes, thank God.
Yes.
Very happy.
Now, when it comes to magnesium, I mean, you don't have to eat it with food. You should be fairly okay. But if you do have more of a sensitive stomach, then I would pair it with like a late night snack or something if you need to. I take my citrate actually alongside my dinner because that is going to be my last large meal of the night. I do end up having like a sweet treat at the end or a couple of hours later, but I'd rather pair it with dinner. I'm trying to help my digestion to begin with. So pairing it with dinner has just really helped me. And then glycinate, I just take it an hour before I crawl into bed and I don't worry about it being on an empty stomach. It's never really impacted me in that sense. So,
Yeah, yeah,
so
and
yeah.
I bet with just, like, you eating throughout your day,
Yeah,
your stomach isn't just, like, super, super empty, so it probably doesn't hurt you too much.
exactly.
So
Yeah.
that's probably a good mix.
Yes. Now, then so aside from magnesium, there's calcium, which we kind of mentioned a little bit earlier in the episode, but this is especially important if you're not getting much dairy or leafy greens. So if you are, obviously lactose intolerant or have an aversion to leafy greens, because I know it's like pulling teeth to get some people to eat their greens, which I get.
Yeah.
But it supports bone strength and muscle function. And just a FYI, as we age, your bone density decreases automatically. Your muscle mass decreases automatically. And so this kind of helps combat that so that it doesn't deteriorate faster than it needs to, essentially. And then, fun fact about calcium is your body actually uses calcium overnight to repair and rebuild. So, evening is the best time to take it. The only time your
Mhm.
body gets true rest, recovery, and can rebuild, especially if you're strength training, is when you're sleeping. So, that's why quality sleep is important. But if you take calcium alongside, it'll help that process while you're sleeping. So,
Interesting, interesting.
I know.
Another thing to add kind of onto that is, about the leafy greens, how it's just hard for some people to get that in. Another kind of barrier to entry for a lot of people is living in a food desert, which I do now. Fun fact. But it's hard to find like a lot of really good nutritional, like quality nutritional items. So like out unfortunately our food here, food at Walmart, we don't have a lot of, like, local grocery stores, don't really have any hardly, and if we do, they're usually getting, like, we like to say, like, the, rejects from, like, bigger grocery stores like Walmart, and so, that also may be a reason that you do wanna supplement with some of these things like calcium where if you don't really like leafy greens and you're not getting a whole lot of dairy or you are lactose intolerant and you live in a food desert, that might be a good reason that like, okay, let's look into this and see where, some of these vitamins and minerals are at because that can be a really big one. And
Hmm.
I really didn't realize that until probably a year ago whenever we found out we were moving. I was like, "Oh, shoot, yeah, I'm gonna be in a place where we don't just have all of the best options,
Hmm.
unfortunately." And so really gotta be proactive about it, make
Yeah.
sure I'm getting what I need. So,
Absolutely, and aware of your environment and where you live.
yep,
Absolutely.
yep.
So just to wrap up kind of your evening ones, and this is what we kind of mentioned earlier, is just remember, don't take calcium and iron together. That is why we recommend iron in the morning, calcium at night. They compete for absorption. So you want to space them out so that your body actually absorbs both at separate times. So
Yes.
okay,
Sorry.
so we
There
covered obviously morning, day, night. So now let's just go into some quick vitamin hacks, and then we'll kind of recap it all and tie it up with a pretty little bow.
pretty
So,
low, yeah.
yes.
Cool. Okay, so hack number 1, consistency beats perfection. You do not have to be perfect, just aim to take them most days. And so we've said this several times throughout the podcast, really just making sure that you're consistently getting them in. That's going to be best case scenario. Some of these vitamins can be stored. And then the others your body will use when it needs, and it's going to excrete the rest that it just doesn't need. And that's okay. So making sure that you're getting a good amount, consistent amount, just like everything else, consistency
Right.
is the key.
Like we've never said that before.
I feel like I say that every day,
I know, right?
maybe several times.
Yeah. Okay, and then on top of that, drink plenty of water. I mean, this is something we work on with our clients regardless, but if you are really deficient and you start supplementing and just in general start taking vitamins, especially your B and C's, are water soluble. So staying hydrated helps your body use them properly. So
Mm,
again, that
so
does
true.
matter. You need to stay hydrated. If you're not, your body may not be absorbing everything that it can. And obviously, you're already trying to get this into a new routine and regimen. So just do it right from the beginning.
Yep, yep, yep.
Yeah,
Just start off on the right foot. Next
exactly.
one is split your supplements. So don't load your stomach with everything at once. Your body can only absorb so much. And with all the different timings that we talked about too, just making sure that you're giving your body the most ample time and the best case scenario to make sure that it's going to be able to use these new things that it needs.
Hmm. Totally. And Morgan kind of already touched on this, but Quality really does matter. Don't just go buy the cheapest one. I'm not saying you have to buy an insanely expensive one, but look for brands that are
Mhm.
third party tested because what's on the label should
Mm.
actually be in the bottle. And so again, you pay or you pay the price is what you get, right? And so
Mhm.
yeah, there are some affordable ones that are great, but don't just automatically go to the least
Yeah.
expensive one. Really actually look and I mean if there were one brand that I would recommend for everything, it's Thorne. I love Thorne.
Thorne is
They're
good.
just so
Mhm.
amazing. And that's Thorne. And that's actually where I get my creatine. But I started
Mm.
buying all my supplements from there. It is just a brand
Yes.
that is super reputable and I trust them. And so I'm like,
Yes.
if I can get everything under one brand, I might as well. So,
Do it. Yeah, I love Thorne. Also Legion is a really good one too. I don't know all of the, like, vitamins and minerals supplements that they have, but that's where I get my protein powder, and they're also third party tested. I know for a fact. So,
yeah,
those are 2 really solid brands
absolutely.
that you can
Yeah.
try.
And when in doubt, just ask your coach if you are working with us,
Yep.
because we do tend to have a ton of discount codes and hookups with different
Mhm.
places. So we're always happy to share that with you guys.
And like I mentioned, I've gone through a lot of trial and error, so
Yes,
I
exactly.
figured it out for you. You just asked me.
I know, we're your guinea pigs.
Yeah.
So we'll
Yep.
set you on the right course.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so let's kind of wrap this all up because I know this was a lot of information, a little bit more, I would say, not scientific, but kind of information dump. And so we just want
Mhm.
to recap this. So, first and foremost, morning recommended B vitamins, vitamin D, and possibly iron if you are deficient. Midday, you're looking at your
Mhm.
vitamin C and your zinc. And then evening, you're looking at your magnesium and your calcium. So, what else?
Yes, yes. So that's your full day vitamin regimen. Keeps your energy up, hormones balanced, skin glowing, and your body recovering overnight like it needs to. So just remember, vitamins are one piece of the puzzle. Pair them with whole foods, movement, good sleep, managing stress, and you really will feel the difference. And that's probably one of the biggest takeaways is you can't just add these vitamins in and not be doing the whole food part, the movement part, the quality sleep, and not managing your stress, or you're not gonna like, it will be a waste. You will not notice a
Hmm.
difference. It won't do anything for you. So, making sure those big rocks are really solid and in place, that's where vitamins can definitely make a massive
Hmm.
difference for you.
Absolutely. And even though you can get a lot of these vitamins from whole nutrient dense foods, as as we age, I mean, it's just, all the fun things of aging. We just naturally can become deficient in some of these things. And so we're not saying that the only reason you should take these is if you're deficient. These are actually important to take every single day. I just wanted
Mhm.
to emphasize that I'm dosing more than what a typical amount would be just because I did in fact find out I was deficient. And then once I level out my, levels with everything, then I'll go to a regular regimen. So I just wanted to add that these are absolutely okay to take every single day
Yep,
on top of all your other lifestyle factors that Morgan mentioned. So,
yep, yep.
so yeah.
I do the same thing. So it makes a difference and just making sure you're consistent. That is
Hmm.
such a big thing. And you'll be able to tell. It makes world of difference for me.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. I know. I'm like loading up on vitamin C now. I mean, we're both sick.
I know
Vitamin
I
C
should do
and
that.
zinc, but
Yeah.
just go. I mean, if this isn't the first sickness that I'm getting of the season, I'm like, hell no. I just want to get ahead of it. And so I'm
Yeah.
just going to continue to
Yep.
ride through that, throughout this whole cold and flu season, just hopefully to alleviate the amount of times I get sick. So,
Yes, yes.
yes.
Okay, this is kind of a little side tangent, but do you remember those little, like, vitamin C packets that
Yes.
people would, like, put in their water and stuff? Used to do that, like, at my office, like, we would have during, like, winter time, they would have all these vitamin C packets they would get from Walmart or whatever, and, you dump them in your water, drink it, and it was supposed to, like, help you not get sick. Just one of those things that I remembered randomly. I'm
Yep.
like, I remember doing that, and it, like, never made a
Oh,
difference.
yeah. I mean, those packets, I mean, again, you
Yeah, it's
really
like,
look
come
at
on,
everything and see what's actually in it, but a pure, like,
doesn't do much.
vitamin C pill is probably gonna be better than a packet.
Oh, for
But,
sure. Yep,
yeah, I
yep,
know exactly
yep,
what you're I
and some
actually
bell peppers, kiwi.
I actually
Yeah,
have some of those vitamin C packets, and I'm like, "This is probably just, like, such a marketing stunt," but
placebo
it's there.
the whole time, but that's okay.
Exactly. But well, I think we've wrapped it up. Thanks for
Yeah.
again tuning in. We will catch you next time. And until then, keep fueling your body with all the good things, nutrient dense foods, vitamins, and we will be here next time.
Bye.